Massive protests erupt in Tehran. Thousands of citizens pour into the streets, their voices echoing through the city as banners wave defiantly in the night air. The unrest is palpable, a surge of anger and frustration that has been building for weeks, now boiling over into open confrontation with the authorities. Oil exports to China threatened, screams the breaking news ticker across international screens. News anchors scramble to interpret the chaos, their voices urgent as they relay updates on the rapidly evolving situation. Headlines flash warnings of economic shockwaves that could ripple far beyond Iran's borders. It's midnight in Beijing. In the darkened halls of Zhongnanhai, China's leaders exchange hurried whispers. The gravity of the crisis is clear. Every decision made tonight could have consequences for millions. Advisors huddle in shadowy corridors, weighing the risks and rewards of intervention, their faces tense with uncertainty. The Iranian parliament is surrounded by angry crowds. Lawmakers inside feel the pressure mounting as chants and shouts grow louder, the building itself trembling with the force of public outrage. The government teeters on the edge, unsure how to respond. Chinese diplomats in Tehran lock down their embassy, waiting for orders. Behind closed gates and curtained windows, embassy staff monitor the chaos outside, their nerves stretched thin as they await instructions from Beijing. The sense of isolation is overwhelming. This is not an idle scenario. The relationship between China and Iran has always been full of risks and rewards. Decades of careful diplomacy and economic partnership now hang in the balance, threatened by forces beyond anyone's control. Each breaking headline is a reminder of how fragile this alliance really is. The world watches as the partnership is tested by crisis, wondering if it can withstand the pressure or if it will fracture under the strain. For China, every barrel of oil shipped from the Persian Gulf is a lifeline, but also a potential noose. The flow of energy is vital to China's economy, yet it comes with strings attached, binding Beijing's fate to the turmoil in Tehran. On the other side of the world, energy traders watch nervously as oil prices jump. Markets react in real time, with every headline sending shockwaves through global finance. The stakes are enormous, and uncertainty reigns. The world wonders, if Iran falters, what happens to China's energy security? Analysts debate scenarios, governments prepare contingency plans, and ordinary people brace for the impact on fuel prices and economic stability. The answer could reshape the global order. As leaders gather in capitals around the world, the decisions made in the coming days will determine not just the fate of two nations, but the balance of power for years to come. China's economic miracle runs on energy. Its factories, highways, and growing cities demand more oil than the country can produce. That's why China looks outward, to Iran, among others. Iran's vast oil reserves are a crucial supplier for China's appetite. In recent years, sanctions have squeezed Iran, making Chinese buyers even more important. Iranian oil often comes at a discount, a deal China cannot resist. Beijing has invested billions in Iranian infrastructure, from refineries to pipelines. For Iran, China is not just a customer, it's a lifeline. But this dependence also creates vulnerability. If Iranian oil is cut off, Chinese factories could grind to a halt. Rising energy prices would ripple through the global economy, hitting China hardest. For leaders in Beijing, securing this flow is a top priority and a source of constant anxiety. China and Iran often present themselves as close allies, showcasing their partnership on the world stage with grand gestures and public displays of unity. Their leaders frequently meet, exchanging warm handshakes and affirming their shared vision for a new global order. Both nations are united in their opposition to US dominance, and they share a desire to challenge the existing world order. They envision a more multipolar world, where power is distributed among several influential countries, not just one superpower. To reinforce their alliance, China and Iran sign economic and strategic agreements, conduct joint military exercises, and support each other in international forums. These actions send a clear message: they are willing to cooperate to advance their mutual interests. Yet beneath the surface, the partnership is uneasy. Differences in ideology, culture, and long-term goals create underlying tensions that are not always visible to the public. Iran's revolutionary zeal, driven by its religious leadership and anti-Western rhetoric, sometimes makes Beijing nervous. China, with its secular government and focus on economic growth, is wary of unpredictable political movements. China prefers stability, order, and predictability, qualities not always found in Tehran's leadership, where internal politics and public unrest can lead to sudden changes in direction. For Iran, China is often seen as a pragmatic partner, useful for economic and diplomatic support, but not a true friend who shares its revolutionary ideals or worldview. The two nations' goals overlap in areas like trade and opposition to Western influence, but their interests rarely align perfectly. Each side is careful to protect its own priorities. China also maintains strong relations with Iran's regional rivals, including Saudi Arabia and Israel. These relationships are crucial for China's broader strategy in the Middle East. This complex web of connections forces Beijing to walk a diplomatic tightrope, balancing its interests in Iran with its need to maintain good relations across the region. China's main priorities are securing energy supplies and expanding its influence, but it is careful to avoid getting entangled in the region's deep-seated rivalries and conflicts. The friendship with Iran is real, but it's also transactional, built on mutual benefit rather than deep trust. As the geopolitical landscape shifts, this partnership remains fragile and always at risk of unraveling. China fears chaos above all else. For Beijing's leaders, the idea of sudden regime change in Iran is a nightmare. If protests topple the government, oil exports could stop overnight, new leaders might not honor old deals, the region's stability would shatter, with unpredictable consequences. Beijing has watched the Arab Spring and other uprisings with alarm. It knows revolutions can spread like wildfire. A new Iranian regime might seek better ties with the West, leaving China out in the cold. Or, violence could spiral, leading to civil war and blockaded oil fields. In such a scenario, China's entire energy strategy would be at risk. Investments could be stranded, political costs would rise. The Chinese public, used to steady economic growth, might start to ask hard questions, something the government desperately wants to avoid. Imagine thousands of Iranians flooding the streets, waving banners and demanding change. Fires burn in the distance, police clash with protesters in front of the oil ministry. For China, every image on social media is a warning sign. During times like these, even routine oil shipments can be delayed or blocked. Workers at refineries may join strikes, ports close as unrest spreads. Chinese companies in Iran scramble to protect their staff and assets. Communication with Beijing is frantic, but answers are few. Instability in Iran is never just a local problem. It threatens global energy supplies. It tests China's ability to manage distant crises. In every boardroom and ministry in Beijing, the lesson is clear. Reliance on volatile partners comes with high stakes. The United States has a long and complicated history of clashing with Iran, marked by decades of tension, mistrust, and periodic escalation. From the 1979 Iranian Revolution to the present day, relations have been defined by a cycle of confrontation and uneasy standoffs. Sanctions, military threats, and diplomatic isolation have shaped Iranian policy for decades, squeezing its economy and limiting its global reach. These measures have not only targeted Iran's nuclear ambitions, but also its vital oil exports, banking sector, and access to international markets. For China, this volatile situation presents both an opportunity and a risk. On one hand, Beijing sees a chance to expand its influence in the Middle East and secure energy resources by engaging with a sanctioned Iran. U.S. pressure on Iran opens space for Beijing to deepen its ties, investing in infrastructure, technology, and energy projects that might otherwise be off-limits. But it also makes those ties dangerous, as any misstep could draw China into the heart of a geopolitical storm, or expose it to secondary sanctions from Washington. American policymakers watch China's moves carefully, wary of any sign that Beijing is undermining U.S. efforts to isolate Tehran. Any indication that Beijing is helping Tehran dodge sanctions, whether through covert oil shipments or financial channels, can trigger new penalties and further strain U.S.-China relations. U.S. naval forces in the Persian Gulf serve as a constant reminder to China and others that these vital sea lanes are never fully secure, and that military power still shapes the rules of the game. The threat of conflict always lingers just beneath the surface, with every military maneuver or diplomatic miscalculation risking a wider confrontation. Other countries, Europe, Russia, and the Gulf states, also have significant stakes in what happens next, each pursuing their own interests and alliances in this high-stakes environment. The complex web of alliances and rivalries means every move is watched, every decision carries weight, and the consequences can ripple far beyond the region. For China, the challenge is navigating this intricate chessboard, balancing ambition with caution and seeking opportunity without being caught in the crossfire of great power competition. Energy security is the Achilles heel of China's rise. No matter how powerful its military becomes, China cannot escape its dependence on foreign oil, especially from places like Iran. Pipelines and alternative routes help, but the basic problem remains. Beijing invests heavily in renewable energy, nuclear power, and strategic reserves. Still, oil is irreplaceable in the short term. Disruption, even for a few weeks, could send shockwaves through the Chinese economy. Inflation would spike, manufacturing could stall, public frustration could grow. China's leaders plan for every contingency, yet some risks are impossible to fully control. As long as Iran is unstable, Beijing's energy strategy is built on shifting sand. That vulnerability shapes every calculation, political, economic, and military. For all its risks, the China-Iran relationship also offers opportunities. Iran needs investment, China wants influence. They share a desire to reduce US dominance in the region. But uncertainty clouds every step. New protests or a sudden coup in Tehran could force Beijing to reassess its plans overnight. Meanwhile, the US and its allies constantly adjust their strategies, seeking to contain both Iran and China. The Middle East is a region of eternal surprises. In the end, Beijing's approach is pragmatic. It seeks to diversify its energy sources, hedge its bets, and avoid direct confrontation. Still, the margin for error is slim. One serious crisis could upend years of careful planning. As the world watches, the future of China-Iran relations hangs in the balance. Will Tehran remain a reliable supplier for Beijing, or will internal turmoil and external pressure sever the ties that bind them? No one can say for sure. China will continue to look for new partners and new technologies. It will try to reduce its dependence on any single country, yet the shadow of Iran looms large. Every decision Beijing makes, on trade, diplomacy, or security, will be shaped by these uncertainties. The risk of sudden change remains. For China, the lesson is clear. In a connected world, even the mightiest power is only as strong as its weakest link. As energy, allies, and regime change risks collide, the next chapter of global politics is being written now, one headline at a time.